You know that feeling, right? When you wake up from a dream that felt so incredibly real, you actually have to take a second to remember where you are. We always think of dreams as our own little private movie theater. But what if they're not? What if every single night we were all logging into the very same place?
I mean, really think about that for a second. What if that completely bizarre dream you had last night wasn't just yours? What if you were sharing that space with your friends, your family, maybe even with total strangers all over the world? Let's dive into this whole crazy idea.
You see, just that one sentence opens up a whole universe of possibilities. It paints a picture of a world where our minds aren't these isolated little islands. Instead, we're all connected by this vast subconscious ocean. But, okay, before we get carried away with the possibilities and, well, the perils, we really need to understand the rules of this new reality.
So how would something like this even work? In this first part, we're going to try to navigate the dreamscape, kind of lay down the ground rules for this strange new world we're about to step into.
The feeling would be, well, probably pretty disorienting at first. You know that sensation of falling asleep? Imagine instead of just fading to black, you're fading into something else, into a landscape built from the hopes, the fears, the memories of every single person on Earth. Your most private thoughts, they're no longer just whispers in your own head, they're threads in this gigantic, collective tapestry.
And here's the wild part. This isn't just pulled from thin air, from some sci-fi novel. This idea actually has roots in psychology. Over 100 years ago, a guy named Carl Jung talked about the collective unconscious. He believed that we all inherit this kind of psychic blueprint, right? A shared collection of instincts and symbols. So this dreamscape we're talking about, it's really just taking his theory and making it a literal place we go to every night.
And you see echoes of this idea all through history, across different cultures. Think about the Aboriginal concept of dreamtime, this timeless place that connects all life and spirit. Or just think about how ancient myths, stories about dragons or great floods, show up in civilizations that never even had contact with each other. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe we've been dreaming together all along.
Okay, so now let's look at the incredible upside. I mean, if we could truly harness a connection like this, the results could be absolutely utopian. We're talking about a limitless power for creation, for collaboration, for everything.
To try to picture it, artists could literally paint on a shared canvas of the mind. Musicians could pull inspiration from the emotions of millions to compose these incredible symphonies. Scientists, they could tackle humanity's biggest challenges, climate change, disease, by pulling all their brain power in one single focused stream. We could even have shared therapy, where people could work through trauma together in a totally safe, supportive, communal space. You see, this wouldn't just be about having weird dreams anymore. This would be the birth of a global brain trust that innovates and solves and heals, all while we're asleep. Our 8 hours of rest could become the most productive part of the human day. The entire world could be transformed overnight, literally. But for every beautiful dream, there's a nightmare, right? And a shared dreamscape means the potential for a shared nightmare on a scale that is just unimaginable. Because with infinite connection comes infinite vulnerability.
So what happens when our collective anxieties start to feed off each other? A tiny, personal fear could just amplify and spread like a virus through the dreamscape, creating this monstrous shared terror that you can't just wake up from. Why? Because everyone else is trapped right there in it with you.
And the heart of the problem is the total and complete loss of privacy. Right now in our waking lives, our thoughts are our own. Our insecurities are ours to hide if we want to. But in the dreamscape, everything is just out there. Your thoughts are exposed. Your emotions become communal property. Every single vulnerability is on full display for anyone to see, or worse, to exploit.
And this just opens up a flood of terrifying ethical questions. Like, who controls this place? A corporation? A government? What's to stop them from building walls, creating exclusive dream resorts for the rich while locking everybody else out?
And what about warfare? Could nations literally commit espionage by invading the minds of their enemies' leaders? Could advertisers start planting desires directly into our subconscious while we sleep, manipulating us in ways we wouldn't even be aware of? And here it is, maybe the most frightening thought of all. What if a shared dream becomes a shared delusion? A kind of mass hallucination that doesn't just end when the sun comes up, but actually bleeds into our reality, twisting our collective idea of what's real and what isn't.
So, when you get down to it, this entire thought experiment, it really forces us to look at our own waking world in a new light. It pushes us to redefine what we think about ourselves, about connection, and, well, about reality itself.
Because for all that terror, there's still that profound promise, the ultimate form of empathy. I mean, imagine not just sympathizing with someone's pain, but literally feeling it with them in the dreamscape. Imagine sharing in their purest, most perfect moment of joy. It would fundamentally change how we see each other. For the very first time, we could truly walk in someone else's shoes. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question. While we've been exploring this hypothetical world, it forces us to ask ourselves, what deep connections do we already share right here, right now? Through our cultures, our stories, our shared human experiences, maybe, just maybe, we're already dreaming together in ways we don't even realize.